Hey, 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 good morning, good evening, good afternoon, and welcome to the Freedom Seekers Live TV series for episode 48 already. I'm a little bit stuttering. I don't know why, because maybe it's Friday. Maybe that's the reason. I have a lovely lady waiting for you. She lives in Connecticut. She has two children from 20 and 21 years old. She is a former chef. And she loved the beach and she created her dream life. And now, since 1 year, she is living that dream life. And so I want to hear all about it. She loves to travel and she's going to tell you all about that. So I'm going to add her to the stream so she can share her story with us. Hi, Gina.
Hi, thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, welcome, and thank you for taking the time. Gina, well, we're going to start a little bit in the beginning because you have an amazing story. You were cooking for your whole family of 6 at the age of 8.
Yes.
So what's that all about?
I love cooking. I just love to cook and to create. And my mom just let me go for it. I'm Portuguese, so I like to cook spicy food.
Mhm.
And my dad would open the door and he would go, "Oh, Gina cooked. I can tell," because he could smell all the spices because my mom didn't cook,
No.
the food that was so spicy. And when I was a little kid, I played restaurant. Most kids played, school and house and doctor, and I played restaurant.
Yeah.
I always wanted to be a chef. And I did. I became a chef, and I did that until I was 40. And then I just decided it was no longer filling my bucket anymore. And so I reinvented myself, and I went through that phase where a lot of women are, go at some point, what am I going to be when I grow up kind of thing. I thought I had it all figured out because I was doing what I loved. So I accidentally stumbled upon holistic practices and became a business coach.
Okay, but we're going back a little bit further because you go a little bit fast. Because I want to know who teach you to cook like that. Was that your mom? Because I imagine that at 4 years old, at 8 years old, you are still learning a lot of things. I don't think I could even bake an egg at that moment. So how could you cook for 8 people?
Well, for 6 people. So it was,
Myself,
my siblings, my parents. My mom cooked. I spent my summers in Connecticut with my aunt, who's Italian, and she taught me a lot of the fundamentals of cooking. And my dad liked to cook too. He always made a Sunday roast, and so I don't know. It's just one of those things that's just a natural gift that I always had. I love to bake, and when I was little, I had an easy bake oven. I don't know if you know what those are. You put a little pan and a cake in a little tiny oven. It's kind of like a microwave, but I was just something I was always passionate about.
Okay, wonderful. And did you start your own restaurant then, or did you have a home cooking that people came to you, or how did it work? How did that work?
So I always worked in the restaurant as a hostess and a waitress and you name it, I did it in the restaurant. But I always wanted to be in the kitchen and back. But everybody who owned the restaurants were like, "Oh no, you're cute. We're going to put you up front. We're going to make you the hostess. And I was like, "Oh, I want to be in the back of the house." And they never wanted me to do that. I just decided at some point before I had my kids, the opportunity was right. And I went to culinary school. And so when I graduated culinary school, I was already married, but it was before I had children. And I started working in a bed and breakfast, and just part-time. At the time, I was doing marketing for a company. And so I had flexibility in my schedule, and I loved it. And I ended up working there for 10 years. And ironically, it was on the shore. I used to commute an hour to get to the bed and breakfast. And it's not in existence anymore, but it's actually a few miles away from where I live. So this is how I fell in love with this area, was working at that bed and breakfast. But then I always had a little side hustle. I had a little business called Gina Cooks, and I prepared meals for working moms. So I was doing personal chefing, and that happened by accident. I would attend book club and all these mommy groups, and everybody couldn't wait to see what I was bringing. What did you bring? What did you bring? And they wanted my dish and they wanted my food. And then one week somebody said, "Can I pay you to make dinners for me?" And I was like, okay. Somebody else said, "I want in, and I want in, and I want in." And before I knew it, I had this whole little side gig going on. And it was great because at the time I had kids and I was able to be home and work at the B&B on the weekends, and then cook for my house, cook for my family, and then go around and deliver meals to people. So I don't know.
Wow.
Things just always happen, right? You have to take opportunities and make them happen. And if you want something bad enough and you're able to figure out how to do what you love and make money at it, it's even better.
You said something before we started this conversation. I love that. You said, I had a lemonade stand, but that wasn't enough for me, so I made cookies, so I was different than the rest. Is that also something that you need as an entrepreneur? Because you grew into a holistic business coach with all your experience. We're going to talk about that. But is being different than others, is that also something that is maybe necessary for being a successful entrepreneur?
Yes, it's one of the questions you said you were going to ask me. So I guess I'll answer that a little earlier. My philosophy is clients are attracted to you as the person, to someone that they resonate with, and being you and being unique is what people want. And so to add your own little personal twist to anything you do, I think is necessary. It's just really just being authentic and being yourself. And for me, I love feeding people. So it was natural for me to add, cookies or different treats to my lemonade stand. And when I create anything, it's not just about serving someone. I'm always thinking about the presentation and how it's delivered. And, it's just adding that little, what's different about you. You can't make it up. It's just inside of you.
Yeah, that is so true. Because a lot of people, they are thinking about starting a business, becoming an entrepreneur. You roll into that, even though you were an entrepreneur already at 8 years old. But you rolled, huh? That's the past tense. Yeah, okay, not ruled. You rolled into it as a chef, as a cook. That you were working. Was that corporate where you working? So you have no.
No. I was working. I was doing marketing for a company. They do fire and flood. And so I was, again, as an entrepreneur, as an extrovert, meeting people and, doing that sort of thing. I love people. So I was doing marketing for the company and taking people out to lunch and, doing different things, a little bit of schmoozing here and there. But I just love being with people. So that's what I was doing at the time.
That's what's called networking. That's what's called connection.
Getting paid to do this? This is fun.
Yeah, that is fun. Yes, that's fun. But that is how you grow your circle of influence, yes. Because that is already also necessary for your business. But again, before we started this conversation, you said another golden nugget, and that was when I was around 40, I was starting to feel that things should be different. And I've talked to a lot of ladies, and most of them are over 40, and a lot of them say the same thing. It's like around 40, 45, that machinery starts thinking differently. It's our journey or experience and so on. But it's really funny to hear that always around 40, 45. What happened for you around that age?
Well, as I mentioned, I love to cook and I enjoy cooking. Of course, I still cook for my loved ones and for family. It just wasn't filling me up anymore. So I can remember at the time I was married and coming home on the weekends from working at the bed and breakfast, and once in a while I slept over, but for the most part, I came home at the end of the day and my ex-husband would say, how was work? And I was like, it was great. I love it. I love what I do. And he was just like, wow. And so I worked there before I had kids. And then when I had kids, I had one, and I thought he was going to say, forget it. You can't work anymore. I'm not being with the kids after working all week. But he saw how much I loved it. And then I had another kid and he was like, yeah, go ahead. You love it. And so I really, really did it. I just loved it. And I believe, and I always have, marched to the beat of my own drum. And I believe that you should do what you love. Figure out how to get paid for it. That's the secret in life. I learned that at a very young age. And when you're no longer happy and feeling fulfilled, it's time for a change. But I thought I had it all figured out because I was doing what I loved. So it was a weird feeling for me once it started to shift. And once I, to give that up. and to say, okay, well, what am I going to do now? And let me tell you, people don't like change.
No.
Everybody was like, what do you mean you're not going to be a chef? What are you going to do? I'm like, I don't know. I'm going to figure it out. But people don't like that.
Yeah.
They want you to stay in their little
Yeah.
box and just be who you are because it's comfortable for them. But I would say nothing good happens in your comfort zone. So you got to get out there and shake things up.
So, but how did you turn into a holistic business coach then? How did that happen?
Well, I was like, as I mentioned, I was always doing something entrepreneurial. And so I accidentally was asked to sub for a friend who ran an entrepreneurial group. Because again, I was being paid to go to these networking events. And I loved it. And apparently I was great at it because corporate was like, wow, you are amazing. You need to open your own chapter. And so long story short, I did. And so I was leading these entrepreneurial groups, still in this place of not really sure what I want to do when I grow up. But I'll tell you, so I remembered in 1999, I lost my first child at birth.
Oh.
And I was devastated and I didn't know what to do. So my next, pregnancy after that with my son, of course, I was nervous. Is the baby okay? Is the baby okay? Kind of thing all the time. So I had to figure out a way to relax. And I looked into, somebody suggested I look into some holistic practices. So I started having Reiki sessions and aromatherapy and hypnosis and meditation and things I had never done before. And those holistic practices is what got me through two subsequent pregnancies after that. Because of course, you lose a child at birth, you have to get through the whole 9 months to stop that fear. So then I was busy working and chefing and being a mom. And so I kind of stepped away from those practices. So when I turned 40, this is kind of to answer your question, and I wasn't sure what I was going to do with myself when I grew up. I thought, well, holistic practices got me through the most difficult time in my life. So maybe I'll start just taking some classes and start playing with that again. Just see what happens. Maybe it will help me figure out what I'm going to do when I grow up. So I just, if I see something come across my feed, I was like, oh, well, that's interesting. I'm going to learn how to play. And I don't know if you can see it, but I have a crystal bowl over there.
Oh, it sounds a bowl.
And so I took a certification to learn how to play sound healing and to do some healing. And I became a Reiki master. And so before you know it, I collected about 10 or 12 different holistic certifications. And I thought, okay, well, this is what I meant to do. I'm going to be a healer. No. Well, as it turns out, I'm a coach to the healers. Okay. So this journey was to help me understand. So now when I have a client come to me and they say, I want to teach, spirituality, or I want to open a yoga studio, or I want to, they have some sort of a holistic business. I understand because I've been trained in most of those modalities. So that's how I kind of accidentally became a business coach. All of these women that I was leading these entrepreneur groups would come to me. And once I stopped, I stepped away from leading these groups, they were like, well, wait a minute, can we have coffee? Can we get together? Can I buy you a drink? And I'm like, whoa. They wanted more. Yeah. And I didn't even realize it. So I put together a little meeting, a little mastermind. I called it the Coffee Connection, and they showed up. A bunch of them came and they're like, can we do it again next month? I'm like, I guess. And then somebody said, can you do it in my town? Can we meet here? This is too far away. And really, truthfully, within a month or two, I was doing it in 5 different towns. And so for a year, I was leading these groups, but it's really the same questions, because for years I led these entrepreneurial groups and I was listening to what all of these coaches were saying. Yeah. And it's the same simple thing, simple practice. So then at one point, somebody said, I'd really love to work with you. What's your coaching package? And I was like, what? I don't know.
What is a coaching package?
At the time I was working at a mind, body, spirit center. And I remember calling the owner going, what the heck? Like, what am I going to tell him? She's like, calm down. Let's create something. And so then I, took some coaching certification classes and kind of fine tuned. And so that's really the story how I accidentally became a business coach. And I've been doing it for 5 years and I earn my living doing it. And I absolutely love it. Will I do it forever? Who the heck knows? I'm going to do it as long it fills me up.
You say something funny because it's not really funny, but it's in the sense that you use the word accidentally a lot of often. I don't believe in accidents. I don't believe in coincidence. I think you listen very well to your intuition and react on opportunities. Is that true, or is that something that I totally missed?
No, absolutely. I say that, but yes, I listen to my intuition for everything. I have always listened to my intuition, and if it feels right, then it is right. And I always say, like, if it's a no, it's a hell no. If it's a yes, it's a hell yes. So you're right, and I believe we're all divinely guided, and there are no coincidences. But you're right. I do take steps, and to be an entrepreneur or to be in network marketing, you have to have the drive and the passion and the enthusiasm and the self-motivation to go after what you want, because it's not, sometimes it falls from the sky. It falls from the sky for everyone, but the difference is I go after it. And some people just, oh, I don't know. And, they overthink it. So I guess it's a good thing and a bad thing, right?
Yeah, no, I think it's awesome because I am somebody who didn't listen to the little voice for years. I only discovered this a few years ago. I was more of the pusher. I want that, so I do that, and I die trying it. You understand that kind of mentality, and that's not a good time, because that is not a good mentality, because then you're forcing, and you miss a lot of good opportunities and hunches to take the right way. What would you say to somebody who's listening, who's watching, that says, okay, but I don't see those opportunities. I don't know how to listen to my little voice. What would you, if that would be one of your clients, what would you say to a woman like that?
I would say it's time to get quiet. And so I'm also an investor in a medical grade meditation app. It's called Cloud9 Online. And meditation and getting quiet and going within. And meditation looks different for everyone. Sometimes it's a guided meditation. Sometimes it's just being quiet, sitting on the beach, or taking a walk in nature. It looks different for everyone. So I would tell someone to get quiet, because when you stop overthinking, the guidance comes, the intuition comes. And in order for you to listen to that guidance and that intuition, you need to calm your mind and get quiet. And journaling too. Big old brain dump always works.
Yeah, that is very true. There are a lot of women out there that are really nervous starting a business. Today, with the online opportunities, I think it has become much easier to start an online business, or a business in general, because you were a cook, you still cook, but you were a cook. Those are totally different investments as today in this time and age. If somebody says, okay, but I have nothing to tell, I don't have a journey, I'm not entrepreneurial, but I feel this pull to do something, how can I figure out what I really want? What would you tell them?
So that's great advice. So I would recommend getting quiet. So I don't help people figure out what they want to do when they grow up. Once you've decided and you figured that out, and then you come to me and you say, here's my idea, here's my business. And if they're passionate and excited about it, I'll take the ball and run with it. So if you are in that place and you're, I don't know what I want to do, and you've tried, just do anything that brings you joy. So like I said, I started collecting these certifications and taking a class at night and doing something on a Sunday, because when I read it, I got excited. But that little feeling inside of you, and you say, oh, that's exciting. So it's kind of like following the breadcrumb trail. Just do what's exciting, and just keep doing what brings you joy. And if you still can't figure it out, work with a life coach who specializes in working with women who are stuck in transition. I certainly have a bunch of them. I've coached many fantastic life coaches over the years. So there's two different things. There's a life coach and there's a business coach. So if you're really, really stuck and you've tried all the tools and all the techniques, can't figure it out, I would say, spend some time with a life coach, and that will help you figure out what it is, but just follow your joy.
Follow your joy. That is great advice. Thank you. So, Gina, I have so many questions. Sometimes it goes. When I'm talking to you, it is as if, except, of course, of the really awful thing that happened in 1999, but for your business journey, it seems like everything, sorry, as everything worked out very well for you. Most entrepreneurs encounter hurdles, problems in their journey. I imagine that also happened for you. It seems that it's all roses, but can you share something that happened to you in your journey that at that moment was maybe that just, oh my God, I'm going to quit. This is not for me. But then you pull through, and now it's maybe one of the best moments that for your business. Could you share such a story?
Yeah, one thing comes to mind. Well, two things come to mind. A couple of times I've launched something and it's fallen flat. And I'm like, what the heck? Nobody signed up. Like sometimes I launch things and whoosh, you know, the cash register rings and they take off. And sometimes I launch something and it falls flat and it's crickets and nobody signs up. And it's really hard. But what you have to do, and what I've learned over the years, is to any failure that you have, to really look at it and embrace it. Look at it and say, okay, well, this failed, or I messed this thing up. What can I learn from it? What are my lessons, right? What are the lessons learned? How can I change it? And probably most likely I'm selling something that my ideal client doesn't want, right? I'm selling something that I probably want to teach, but not what they want. But one other story is years ago when I first started, in the first year that I was doing business coaching, I sent out a survey at the end of coaching. And everybody would say, it was wonderful and you changed my life and blah, 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 all these wonderful things. And then I got this one survey back and it wasn't great. And I was like, what? And this woman said, because I was so happy and so positive, and so let's do this, and that I made her feel terrible. That when she got to the end of the coaching calls, she felt inferior. She felt like a failure, because here I was so happy and so energetic and upbeat and blah, blah, blah. And that was like, boom, punch in the face.
Yes.
That was a big kick in the old ego. And I was like, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Like, maybe I shouldn't be doing this. And so I had some doubt, and I had to really get quiet and do some research. And I think I Googled, like, what do you do when you get a bad review from a client or something like that? And what I figured out was she wasn't my ideal client. So at the time, I would take anybody's money. Sure, I can work with you. I can help you. Sure, come on, let's go. And then I'd be like, whoa, right? So what I figured out over time, because of that bad review that I received, make sure you're working with someone that you're in alignment with. Because if you're not, you're never going to serve them.
Yes.
Right? She needed to be with a low energy coach who was not Susie Sunshine. And so, so by asking some clarifying questions about how people learn, and so my first session with people, it's all about taking inventory of their life, people they spend the most time with. And I really understand, and I do a little bit of this during a discovery call now to find out if I'm a fit. And I have absolutely positively turned clients down and said, I think this is where you need to go, or maybe you need a career coach, or you need a life coach, or, I don't feel like our personalities are meshed. Like your style is a little different than what I do. And, so that was a big lesson for me. But I really, really thought long and hard, what the heck, what am I doing?
Yeah. That is something that happens a lot in the beginning of every journey. You want to serve everybody, like you said, because you need every dollar or every euro or every penny to grow and to have your business. So that is really great that you share this, because a lot of people forget that it's so important to the other day I was talking to somebody. She really niched down and said how wonderful that you already did that. And she said, yes, but that is my passion. And you cannot serve everybody, because when you serve everybody, you serve nobody. That's so very very clarifying. So Gina, When you are working on your business, what are a few non-negotiables that you say, I have to do this on a daily basis because that is what is necessary for my business? Are there some rituals that you have or some actions that you take every day?
So as I mentioned before, I do meditate. I meditate and I journal every single day. I have a friend who wrote a book on runa readings, and I pull a runa stone every day, and I read a little manifestation card and the law of attraction, and I do these little rituals before I even begin my day. Some days I'm known to take 2 baths because baths are very grounding for me. So there's certain things that I do when I know I'm off. But one thing that I do consistently is I show up.
Mm-hmm.
Right. And when you show up and you continuously push yourself to show up, and trust me, I mean, nobody wants to be on video all the time, right? And you're like, oh, my hair's crazy, my face looks fat, and all these other things, all these crazy things we tell ourselves. But honestly, nobody cares. They're not looking at you. They're feeling your energy. And so just show up and be yourself. Be consistent, because again, people buy from who they resonate with. And the only way to gain someone's trust is to show up and let them see who you are. So is there something I do every day is I show up for my business, even if I'm on vacation. I'm poking, I'm checking, and I don't even do my own social media. I have someone who does it, but you can tell when I do it because it's like a selfie of me or some off the cuff little something or an Instagram story that I'm posting. But that's me showing up. So yeah, you see all the fancy branded photos on my business page. I didn't make them. I mean, it's my content because they take it from my material, but they do all the little fancy graphics. My stuff is, like I said, it's just off the cuff. But so it's really just show up.
Yeah.
And when you're not feeling it, it's time to take a step back. Maybe you need some time off. Maybe you need a couple of days off. Maybe you need to fill your bucket and understanding what it is that fills the bucket, right?
Yeah.
I love spa days, and I love, the beach and mindfulness and travel. Do the things that you love, whatever brings you joy. And then your cup is full and you're able to show up and be authentic 100% for your business.
Wow. I have 2 questions left. One is, you told me that you had a vision about your dream life, and you were able to create it 1 year ago. And the other question is, did you have only in-person coaching sessions, or were you always online? So those are the 2 things that I would like to wrap up this conversation with. But first, tell us, those rituals, those habits, those action steps, the showing up, is that what helped you to your dream life, to your beach life?
Yes. So I'm a huge believer in the law of attraction, and what you think you attract, and who you are, you attract. I have been teaching people how to do vision boards for years, and I always have a vision board. Since I started, I don't know, maybe 10, 12 years ago, making a vision board, there has always been a beach house at the center of my vision board. Actually, mine's on the wall right over there, and at the top of it is a beach house. And where I am is not my dream home. It's a small place, but again, it's near the beach. I'm getting one step closer. So yes, you have to envision. And so one of the things I share with my clients is, close your eyes. This is where the holistic part comes in. Close your eyes. What's your dream life? What time do you want to wake up? Do you want to travel to the office? Do you want to work in your slippers and from your home office? What does the life look like? So you make this big vision and this dream, and then you design the business to support that life. Yeah. So that comes first. What are your non-negotiables? Your family. How do you want to work? How do you want to live, right? What's your lifestyle? I want to have time in my life to give back. It's a huge part of who I am. And so that piece is, yes, always visualize, then create the business to support the dream.
Oh, wonderful.
And the second question was,
if you have always worked online, or did you first work as for belly to belly or in person? Yes. Or
so that's a great question. When I was leading those, I call them the coffee connection, those mastermind groups, they were in person, and I was traveling to different coffee shops. And then when people wanted one-on-one, I would continue to meet them at a coffee shop, because of course everybody wants to be in person with you. And so I was driving all over the place, and then I fine-tuned it, and I said, you know, then I started doing Zoom. Zoom was just kind of coming out, and I embraced that. And based on people's preference, did they like Zoom? Did they like in person? And so I always said, well, if you drive to my town, I'll meet with you in person, because I wasn't going to spend my, you know, half an hour driving to them. Yeah. And so I would say probably 75% of the people said, oh no, I want you in person. Because of course it's never an hour. I always over delivered and whatever. It's a different experience. Yeah. So then we kind of shifted over to Zoom a little more, because with social media, you know, now I have a client in California and one in North Carolina, and they're, you know, I can work with anybody remotely. Of course, during COVID, when everybody was scrambling, I was like, oh yeah, I'm already a pro on Zoom. I'm on it all. But I still have the occasional clients that want to meet with me in person. I have one client, I go to her office or her home before her team comes in, and I love in person. So again, you have to shift with the times, and you have to be adaptable to what people want. And before, I used to take calls at 7 o'clock at night and do whatever. And now my last call is usually 3 o'clock every day. I don't want to work at night. I'm fried. And I can just do that. And I just say no. Yeah,
because you build it, and you envisioned it all the time. Wonderful. So Gina, we are unfortunately already over the end of the time of the conversation. So I thank you very much that you over-delivered also in this conversation. Where can people connect with you? Where can they get in touch with you if they have questions, or if they want to work with you? Where can they reach out for you?
I would love to have a conversation, a complimentary discovery call with anyone. So my website is ginajohnson.co, not .com, it's .co. I'm on Instagram and Facebook and LinkedIn. Again, it's Gina Raposa Johnson. Raposa is my maiden name, and just ginajohnson.co, and you can track me down.
Let me see. Is this the way I write it? ginajohnson.co?
Yes.
Did I write it right? Okay, so this is the correct website where you can reach out. I also put the link to Facebook in this description, so people can also click on it and shoot you maybe a little messenger. So before we part, do you have, if there are still some last words of wisdom for this audience, for this mostly over 40 women that maybe are wanting to create something for themselves? What could you leave them with?
Well, follow your joy, get clear on who you are and who you're not, and just show up as yourself. Figure out what your magic is and share your magic. Shine your light.
Oh, that's beautiful.
Work in your zone of genius and pay somebody else to do the stuff you don't like doing.
That's a good one. Well, Gina, thank you very, very much. I wish you all the success for the future, but I don't have any doubt that it will be a great future. So thank you for your time. And
thank you so much. This was wonderful. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, wasn't she amazing? Oh my God, I have so many notes. I just want to recap a little bit, because she said so many wonderful things. Be unique, add your own personal twist, because that is what happens. I remember that from my beauty salon journey. People come to you. They want to work with you. So be yourself. Don't be somebody else. Don't copy somebody else. Do anything that excites you. Find something that really, really excites you. Write it down. Be calm. Calm your mind so you can write it down, and you can really pinpoint exactly what you like, and then you can start creating something around that can turn into a business. Also, any failure that you have, embrace it. It is a lesson. Learn from it, and then take it from there. Every great entrepreneur has had lots of failure. So don't be afraid to make mistakes, because those are only lessons. So take inventory of your life. Design your life first. Your your amazing dream life, design it first and then design your life and business around that. So I think those were really a lot of golden nuggets from Gina. So I'm very, very, very grateful that she was there today. So if you want to talk to her, then please reach out to ginajohnson.co or with a little messenger to her. And I hope to see you next week in the training session on Monday at 5 a.m. CST. On Wednesday, there will be the second follow-up training session. And next week, Friday, I will have another conversation with a lovely lady. She is, let me see, Stephanie Pound is next week, Friday. So I'm looking forward to that conversation. For now, have a great weekend, and I hope to see you soon. Bye-bye.